Hi, OCPS Writers. Welcome back for some more writing. This week, we're going to continue with our fiction writing. It's Units of Study, Unit 4, From Scenes to Series. This week, we're going to review some things we talked about last week and then practice some new things as well. Writers, last week you started practicing a good trait that fiction writers do, and that's learning to get your characters out of trouble. This week, we're going to continue practicing that, and we're going to add on. Today's focus is coming up with really good endings, or endings that satisfy our readers. Last week, we said that writers make something happen. They do this by giving their characters action, dialogue, and feeling. This is one way to satisfy the reader. Let's build on that this week. Off we go. Okay. I have a story to tell you. It's a little scary, so get ready. Heather and Lisa were walking to school. It was Heather's first day of kindergarten. Her big sister, Lisa, was going to keep her safe on the way to school. "Bye," they shouted as they left the house. "This is great," Heather said as they walked down the block. The sun was shining. The birds were singing. They turned the corner. That's when they saw it. They saw... The end. Wouldn't it be mean if I just ended my story there? If I just said the end? You would want to know what happens next, right? I would. That's why today, writers, we are going to review how good writers can end stories. And maybe, just maybe, I'll tell you a little more of that story in a bit. Today, I want to teach you that readers love satisfying endings. One way writers create satisfying endings for their readers is by telling what happens to their characters at the end of the story. This makes their readers happy. I definitely did not do that in my opening story. I left lots of unanswered details. Let's see if I can try that story again with more details and an ending that makes my reader feel a bit more satisfied. Writers, before I can even think about coming up with a good ending to my story, I first need to give you more details. I need to get my character out of trouble. I need to use my chart. Fiction writers get their characters out of trouble and bring their characters to life. You need more details in my story to find it interesting. I'm going to do this through dialogue. Remember from last week, that's the communication between characters. I'm going to do it through actions. Ooh, what happens? What did they do? And finally, I'm going to share characters' feelings. I'm going to give you all those details in my story before I can wrap it up and give you a satisfying, juicy ending. I'm going to add a tip in here. I want you to think way back to September and October when we were doing narrative writing. During narrative writing, we talked lots about bringing stories to life in small moments. Guess what? Those same things work for fiction writing. Instead of stories about you, though, they're about your characters. So to help you stretch your stories out and give more details, you can go back to our narrative writing of ways to bring our characters to life. Let's look at some of these strategies really quickly. And you have this anchor chart provided in our lesson plans. Ways to bring stories to life. Remember, you can unfreeze people, make them move, make them talk. As we've gotten farther along, we call that talk the dialogue between characters. Tell small steps so that your readers understand what your character is doing. Don't make them guess about what happened. I haven't done that in my opening story. I just gave a few details, but I've left a lot of gaps. Make your readers think and make your readers feel. Okay, we are getting closer to me trying to wrap this all up and put it into a closing story. So in review, when we're writing stories that satisfy readers, we're going to bring them to life. We're going to use action, feeling, dialogue, and then we are going to wrap them up with an exciting, conclusive ending. Let's try using these tips and see if I can write a more satisfying story for you now. Okay, let's see if I can do this. I'm going to bring my characters to life. I'm going to have dialogue, feeling, and action, and wrap my story up with a satisfying ending. Here we go. Heather and Lisa were walking to school. It was Heather's first day of kindergarten. Her big sister Lisa was going to keep her safe on the way to school. "Bye," they shouted as they left the house. "This is great," said Heather as they walked down the block. The sun was shining. The birds were singing. They turned the corner. That's when they saw it. They saw a skunk with its tail up in the middle of the street. "Oh no," said Lisa. "Freeze, Heather." Heather panicked. She started to move forward when suddenly Lisa grabbed her. Lisa said, "What on earth are you doing? That skunk will spray you." Lisa then told Heather, "We need to carefully tiptoe backwards and not go close to the skunk." Slowly, they tiptoed backwards, keeping their eye on the skunk. For they knew if they got sprayed, it would not be a good day of kindergarten. Carefully, they finally made it home. Lisa was the hero of that day. What do you think? Did I do a better job that time? Did I give you more details and a solution to the problem? I hope so. Let's think about some of the details I added that time. That time, instead of ending the story with, "They saw it," I let you know that they actually saw a skunk in the middle of the street with its tail up. I let you know that Heather was about to move forward. I let you know that Lisa panicked and grabbed her and got her to safety. And then I let you know that how they solved the problem was they tiptoed carefully and quietly backwards. So hopefully you see the dialogue, the action, and the feeling before I wrapped it all up. Today, as your practice, we are challenging you to write a different ending to my story about Heather and Lisa. Use my characters. It can be a different setting, but get them out of a different sort of trouble. Make sure you add action, feeling, dialogue, and a satisfying ending for your readers. We can't wait to see what you come up with.